Human history is a testament to the power of resilience, innovation, and the unrelenting pursuit of the extraordinary. There was a time when taming fire was considered a miracle, and later, the invention of the wheel revolutionized the way we lived. Reaching the moon was once a distant dream, but humanity made it a reality. Time and again, what seemed impossible became possible through determination, courage, and vision. This story is about a group of people who dared to challenge the impossible. They weren't extraordinary by birth, they were ordinary individuals with extraordinary resolve. They lived in a world where boundaries were firm, where limitations were ingrained into the fabric of society, and where dreams were often dismissed as mere fantasies. But for them, limitations were just illusions waiting to be shattered. Their journey wasn't easy. The world doubted them, circumstances tested them, and even their own fears sometimes whispered defeat into their ears. But they held on to a belief stronger than any obstacle, the belief that if they could imagine it, they could achieve it. Together, they embarked on a path that no one dared to walk, fueled by the burning desire to rewrite the rules of possibility. What they achieved would inspire generations to come, but their story didn't begin with success. It began with a spark, a question that changed everything: what if we could do the impossible? And so, their journey began. The story truly began on an ordinary day in an unremarkable town. It was a place where life moved predictably, where innovation was a luxury, and where people settled for what was given rather than striving for what could be achieved. Yet, within the monotony of this town, there was a group of 5 dreamers: Sarah, Aiden, Ravi, Lena, and Omar. Each of them came from different walks of life, but they shared one thing in common: the belief that their lives could be more than what the world dictated. Sarah was the visionary. An engineer by profession but a dreamer at heart, she often spoke of technologies that could transform the way people lived. Aiden, on the other hand, was a natural leader with a knack for strategy and inspiring others. Ravi, the scientist, was the one who would dive deep into the how of making things work, while Lena, the artist, brought creativity and imagination to the group. Omar, the youngest of them all, was the motivator, the one who refused to let the others give up, no matter how tough things got. One evening, as they sat on the rooftop of Sarah's modest house, the conversation turned to the idea of achieving the impossible. Why do we always hear that certain things just can't be done? Sarah asked, staring at the stars. If history has taught us anything, it's that impossible is just a word until someone proves it wrong. But what could we do? Lena asked skeptically. We're just a handful of people in a small town. We don't have the resources or influence to change anything. That's where you're wrong, Aiden said, leaning forward. Change doesn't start with resources. It starts with ideas and the determination to make them real. What if we tried? What if we set out to solve something that no one thinks can be solved? That night, a spark was lit. They spent hours brainstorming, throwing out ideas ranging from the whimsical to the revolutionary. By dawn, they had a plan: they would create an energy source that could sustain entire communities without harming the environment. It was an audacious goal, one that even established scientists and corporations had struggled to achieve. But they believed in their ability to think differently, to approach the problem in ways no one else had. The next few months were grueling. They converted Sarah's basement into a makeshift lab, pooling together their savings to buy materials and equipment. Ravi spent days experimenting with unconventional methods of energy conversion, while Lena designed prototypes that combined efficiency with aesthetics. Sarah and Aiden worked tirelessly on the logistics, from sourcing supplies to networking with potential supporters, while Omar kept the group motivated through every setback. Setbacks were frequent. Their first prototype overheated and exploded, destroying weeks of work. Another attempt produced energy but at such a low efficiency that it was practically useless. There were times when the group questioned their decision to even begin the project. But every time they faltered, Omar's words brought them back to their feet. "We're not doing this because it's easy," he would say. "We're doing this because it matters." As their work progressed, word began to spread. Local residents, initially skeptical, started taking an interest in what they were doing. Some donated materials, others offered their skills. The group's vision began to inspire those around them, turning a small project into a community movement. Months turned into years, and finally, they had a breakthrough. Using a combination of bioengineered materials and innovative design, they created a device capable of harnessing energy from multiple renewable sources, sunlight, wind, and even kinetic motion, with an efficiency far greater than anything available on the market. The device, which they called Aurora, was compact, affordable, and scalable. But their journey was far from over. Creating Aurora was one thing, convincing the world to adopt it was another. They faced fierce opposition from powerful corporations with vested interests in traditional energy. There were legal battles, smear campaigns, and attempts to discredit their work. Yet, every challenge only strengthened their resolve. Aidan took the lead in rallying public support, organizing demonstrations and speaking at events to showcase the potential of Aurora. Lena's designs became a symbol of hope, turning the device into something people wanted to be part of. Ravi continued refining the technology, ensuring it could withstand scrutiny, while Sarah worked on securing partnerships to bring Aurora to the masses. Omar, as always, was their rock, reminding them why they had started this journey in the first place. Their hard work began to pay off. Small communities were the first to adopt Aurora, and the results were undeniable. Villages that had never had reliable electricity were now thriving, with schools, businesses, and homes powered by a clean and sustainable energy source. Stories of Aurora's impact spread like wildfire, capturing the attention of media and governments worldwide. But the closer they got to success, the greater the challenges became. The corporations they had been up against were not willing to back down. Threats were made, friendships were tested, and the group's unity was pushed to its limits. There came a point where they were forced to ask themselves a difficult question: was it worth it to risk everything for their vision? Their answer was unanimous: yes. They had come too far to give up. They weren't just fighting for Aurora anymore, they were fighting for the belief that ordinary people could achieve extraordinary things. As their invention gained momentum, the group found themselves at a crossroads. Their dream was within reach, but the forces against them were more powerful than ever. It was a moment of both hope and uncertainty, a tipping point that would determine not just their future, but the future of countless others. And so, standing on the edge of a decision that would change everything, they prepared for their final challenge, knowing that their journey wasn't over yet. The climax of their journey began on the day they were set to present Aurora at the International Energy Summit, an event attended by world leaders, scientists, and corporations. This was their chance to showcase Aurora on the global stage, to prove that their invention wasn't just a dream but a revolutionary solution that could change the world. But the stakes couldn't have been higher. They knew powerful energy conglomerates were working tirelessly to discredit them, and they had already received threats warning them not to proceed. The group arrived at the summit with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Their device, Aurora, had been carefully transported and set up for the demonstration. The summit hall was massive, with towering screens, journalists from every corner of the globe, and an audience filled with skeptics and supporters alike. As Sarah stepped up to the podium to begin their presentation, she felt the weight of the moment. She glanced at her team, Aidan's reassuring nod, Ravi's focused determination, Lena's quiet confidence, and Omar's ever-encouraging smile. Taking a deep breath, she began. "Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we stand here not just as inventors but as believers in a future where energy is clean, accessible, and sustainable for all. Aurora is not just a device, it's a vision of what's possible when we refuse to accept limitations." The audience listened intently as Sarah explained the science behind Aurora, detailing how it harnessed energy from multiple renewable sources and operated at unparalleled efficiency. Lena's stunning visuals brought the concept to life, showing how Aurora could power entire communities, from rural villages to bustling cities. Aidan then took the stage to address the economic and social impact, emphasizing how Aurora could uplift underdeveloped regions and reduce global reliance on fossil fuels. The presentation was going smoothly until the Q&A session began. As expected, representatives from major energy corporations were the first to challenge them. "This is all theoretical," one executive sneered. "Where's the proof that Aurora can scale to meet global energy demands? And what about its durability? How do you expect people to trust an untested invention?" Ravi stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Aurora isn't theoretical. We've already deployed it in small communities, where it has not only met but exceeded expectations. As for durability, our prototypes have undergone rigorous testing in extreme conditions. The data is available for anyone who wishes to review it." The executive wasn't satisfied. "Even if what you're saying is true, do you really think you can disrupt an industry as massive and established as energy? The infrastructure alone makes your idea impractical." Aidan responded, his tone sharp. "Change always seems impractical until it happens. The same was said about the internet, about space travel, and countless other breakthroughs. We're not here to maintain the status quo, we're here to challenge it." As the tension in the room rose, an unexpected interruption occurred. The screens in the hall suddenly went dark, and a moment later, a video began playing. It was a smear campaign orchestrated by one of the corporations, filled with manipulated footage and false claims about Aurora. It accused the group of fraud, alleging that their invention was a hoax designed to scam investors. The crowd erupted in murmurs, and the group could feel the momentum slipping away. Sarah's heart sank as she realized this was the moment their opposition had been waiting for. But then Omar stood up, his voice cutting through the noise. "Enough," he said, stepping onto the stage. "If you're going to accuse us, do it to our faces. But don't insult the intelligence of this audience with baseless propaganda." Omar's words silenced the crowd, and he continued. "We knew this wouldn't be easy. We knew powerful forces would try to stop us. But we also knew we were fighting for something bigger than ourselves. So instead of listening to lies, let us show you the truth." With that, the team activated Aurora. The device, connected to a variety of renewable energy sources set up for the demonstration, powered up in seconds. The screens came back to life, displaying real-time data of its energy output and efficiency. The audience watched in awe as Aurora seamlessly switched between solar, wind, and kinetic energy inputs, maintaining a consistent flow of power. To prove its scalability, the team revealed live footage from several villages where Aurora had been deployed. The videos showed children studying under electric lights, farmers using powered equipment, and entire communities thriving. It was undeniable proof that Aurora wasn't just an idea, it was a working reality. The room erupted into applause, and the energy shifted. Journalists scrambled to capture the moment, while members of the audience began asking questions, not out of skepticism but curiosity and excitement. But the battle wasn't over yet. The representatives from the energy corporations demanded an investigation into the group's finances and sources of funding, hoping to delay their progress. However, before they could gain any traction, a surprise ally stepped forward, a renowned scientist and Nobel laureate who had been quietly observing the presentation. "I've reviewed their work," the scientist announced. "Aurora is one of the most innovative and promising solutions I've seen in decades. Instead of trying to suppress their efforts, we should be supporting them. The future of energy depends on bold ideas like this." The endorsement was a turning point. By the end of the summit, the group had secured partnerships with environmental organizations, funding from philanthropic investors, and even interest from a few progressive governments. As the team walked out of the summit hall that evening, exhausted but elated, they knew they had crossed a critical threshold. The world was finally beginning to see what they had always believed: the impossible was possible. But their fight wasn't over. The corporations they had challenged wouldn't back down easily, and there was still much work to be done to make Aurora accessible on a global scale. Yet, as they looked at each other, they knew they were ready for whatever came next. They had made it this far because they believed in something greater than themselves. And now, with the world watching, they were determined to finish what they had started. The days following the International Energy Summit marked a turning point. Aurora was no longer just a dream, it was the spark of a global revolution. Communities across the world, from remote villages to bustling cities, began to embrace the technology, transforming lives and redefining what energy could mean for humanity. Yet, with success came resistance. Powerful corporations and vested interests launched fierce campaigns to discredit the group and block Aurora's adoption, using every tool at their disposal to maintain control. But Sarah, Aiden, Ravi, Lena, and Omar were undeterred. They had faced challenges before, but now they had the world watching and countless supporters standing with them. Sarah focused on scaling Aurora, building partnerships with organizations and governments that shared their vision. Ravi, ever the innovator, developed an improved version of Aurora, making it even more efficient and accessible. Lena told the stories of those whose lives had been changed by their work, creating a powerful narrative of hope and progress. The tipping point came when a coalition of countries decided to implement Aurora on a national scale. This bold move faced fierce opposition from energy giants, but the people spoke louder. Protests erupted globally, with millions demanding clean and sustainable energy. Omar, as always, became the voice of the movement. Aurora isn't just about energy, he declared at a rally. It's about proving that together, we can create a future where no one is left behind. The final test came at a historic climate summit, where world leaders gathered to decide the future of global energy. The group's presentation wasn't just a technical showcase, it was a call to action. Sarah's closing words echoed through the hall: Aurora is proof that the impossible is only impossible until we dare to try. This isn't just our invention, it's a solution for humanity. One by one, nations pledged their support. The tide had turned. Corporations that once fought to suppress Aurora now scrambled to adapt, realizing that the future had arrived. As they watched their dream take root, the group knew this was only the beginning. They had proven that ordinary people, united by a shared purpose, could achieve the extraordinary. And while the road ahead would still have challenges, they stood ready to face them together. Their legacy was clear: they had made the impossible